All right, all right. Welcome back, everyone. New room, new year, right? I kind of have to get used to doing the show. And of course, in old fashion, I'm 2 or 3 minutes late. um, but it's been exactly 45 days, right, since we started with the new chapter of IOTA, which is staking and entering a new era, I would say, where it's really about utility and where it's really about moving forward with adoption, especially in the crypto space. And I think it's time to really sort of give everybody an update on what we've been working on, because we've really been focused on delivering our tech, on delivering what will be a very exciting year for us, right? I said this already a few shows ago, where every year I'm in a position where I'm able to say this year will be the most exciting one. And if I wouldn't be able to say that, we wouldn't be making progress, right? We would actually be going backwards, or we would be stagnant and just living off our laurels. And so every year has to be the best year. Every year has to be better than the previous year. And every year we have to leapfrog and move closer and closer towards achieving our goals, our objectives, and towards IOTA being successful. And the most interesting question is, how do we define success of IOTA? Previously, over the last, I would say since the inception of IOTA, our core focus has really been to sort of take a different position than the rest of the crypto market. We've done that with our technology, with the Tangle, right? We were the first ones to use a directed acyclic graph. We really introduced that concept to the space, and we've really advanced it to a stage where we are really confident that this is really the best form of a permissionless distributed ledger. And I have some exciting upgrades or updates actually to share with you guys afterwards. But right, we did things differently from a technology standpoint, but we also did things differently from the way we approach the market, because crypto has always been a wild west, and we've been doing IOTA for the last 7 years now, if you think about it, and crypto is still a wild west. It's still pretty insane, and there's still drama happening every week. There's still the market that is extremely volatile. But the exciting part is that everything is progressing in a very nice direction. And we as IOTA, over a year ago, we simply realized that when it comes to adopting DLT, there are certain use cases and there are certain areas that are really here to stay. And those areas are really exciting because previously, all of us always thought that the adoption of cryptocurrencies and the adoption of blockchain technologies of all kinds, right, distributed ledgers, would actually come from the outside, right? It would be governments, it would be corporates, it would be startups building products with distributed ledgers, and to then push them out to their existing customers and to their to basically solve problems within their specific industries. And we at IOTA, I would say we were definitely one of the leaders in pushing forward with that industry adoption, and that's why we've gotten so much recognition from the European Union, right? Probably the most prominent one, but also from big players like Dell. Yesterday, we got a big grant for one of our projects, digital DMRV, right? DMRV, basically measurement, reporting, and verification for climate data, where Google is actually supporting it financially. And we also work very closely with ST Microelectronics and a bunch of other companies, right? All of that is very exciting and is really great. But I think over the last year, we realized that the adoption within the crypto space is just accelerating exponentially. And it would be a big mistake if we at IOTA would not become one of the main players in that field. And that's why we devised this new strategy and basically agreed on internally within the foundation, and I think also more within the community, that focusing on crypto is essential for our future, because IOTA as a technology can be applied to many different industries. It's not just for supply chain, it's not just for mobility, it's not just for data or payments use cases. It's sort of an agnostic ledger, right? And our objective at the IOTA Foundation is to really develop the best possible foundational base layer on which you can build all of these very exciting use cases. And the Tangle with its DAG architecture is basically perfect to realize these use cases, because we have a layer 1 or a layer 0, if you want to call it, that scales incredibly well, and it actually allows transactions and also state machines to be confirmed in parallel. And this multi-threaded architecture is actually what will help us scale and will actually help us to compete in a very crowded market. And if you look at the main projects today, which are Avalanche, Solana, Phantom, and obviously Ethereum, all of them succumb to the same problems. As soon as they reach a certain limit in terms of transaction throughput, in terms of activity, the fees either go up or the network goes down, and there's significant barriers and significant problems actually within the network. And so this is where we exactly think that we can offer an exciting solution. So there's some background for all of you to better understand where we are coming from and how this sort of vision of IOTA has evolved over the last year, where we're still working very closely with industry partners, where we're still doing a very exciting project with the European Blockchain and Services Infrastructure, short called EPSI, where we're one of the finalists to build out the blockchain infrastructure for Europe. So all of that is really great and is moving forward. But at the same time, we've sort of expanded our focus, or sort of directed our focus towards crypto. And this is exactly where the Stardust upgrade, as we also call it, is really essential. Because IOTA has gone through this transformation, right? We started out with a technology that had many assumptions, that had many different ideas about what the future looks like, right? Ternary, quantum cryptography, and sort of the Tangle itself, right? Where we really thought that these novel technical ideas or novel architecture would be something to basically be future-proofed. And we've sort of completely changed the architecture and the base protocol of IOTA with the Chrysalis upgrade, which happened, I think, about a year ago at this point. And it was a huge success. We removed all the things that didn't make any sense anymore, like ternary, like Winton's one-time signatures, and we added standardized cryptography, standardized concepts, and really focused and doubled down on the Tangle as the future of distributed ledgers and as the future of IOTA, right? And I'm sure that all of you were super happy with with the user experience compared to previously, where you only had could use an address once and all of those user experience problems. All right, this is where we were lost with the last upgrade, which is Chrysalis. Now, the Chrysalis was always seen as a sort of foundation for us to really extend the utility of IOTA. And this utility of IOTA today is about micropayments, right? You can transfer around value feelessly. And it's also about data, where you can secure data on IOTA and have this data verifiability, which is very exciting for use cases like digital identity, right? This is where we stand today. And as many of you can probably guess, where most of the applications are is with tokenization and is with smart contracts. And exactly this is the sort of Stardust package and the Stardust upgrade that we have been working on for the last few months, and where we are getting closer and closer to actually inviting all of you through a sort of testnet as well. By the way, this was a beautiful video that was made by the community about the staking experience in Firefly. You know, I've never staked before, even though I've been in crypto for so long, and I've tried out the staking experience on some of the other wallets, and it was really painful. And with Firefly and with IOTA, it was really, really seamless. And I think many of us were just watching the staking rewards coming in, and it was pretty amazing, I would say. But back to Stardust, right? Stardust itself is made up of three components. So first of all, we have the tokenization framework itself, where we can then basically create tokens on the base layer. We also call them native assets. The way that you can think about them is that they are special tokens on the base layer that have the same properties as the IOTA token. That means that they're feeless, they're as secure and as scalable as the IOTA token. And that obviously includes cryptocurrencies, right, where you can have a token with the maximum number in terms of the supply. Think about tokenizing real estate, where you have 1 million shares, and now those 1 million shares can actually be exchanged, can be traded through IOTA. Or the other very exciting use cases are non-fungible tokens, NFTs. So now with this upgrade that is coming out, you will actually have feeless NFTs on layer 1. And that's something that's incredibly exciting at a time when the transaction fees on Ethereum are close to $15, $20, right? And so we offer an incredible solution that is feeless and is highly scalable. And with that, we are definitely very excited about which use cases will be built through that. And it's been pretty amazing just to watch what the community, what all of you have been building. I think there's like 4 NFT marketplaces now. So many different DEXs and so many different dApps. And all of these creative NFTs that were already created right now before the network is live. So I'm very hopeful that once we enable tokenization on the base layer, we'll have so many new projects and so much new utility to play with on layer 1. Right, so tokenization is the first part. The second part is what is called output types. So the way that you can think about output types on the base layer is that they are actually very special transaction conditions that allow you to define how your assets can be spent. So you can think about them as basically simple smart contracts that are on the base layer, on the IOTA ledger. And what is very exciting about these smart output types is that you can combine them in different ways to enable new use cases. A simple example is that you can actually conditionally spend transaction funds. You can say, hey, these funds can only be spent after a certain time has passed. Or you can actually also do multi-signatures with that. And I really recommend all of you to look at the specifications for this upgrade, because that will really help you to also better understand what's going to be possible. Because we basically have a simplified version of smart contracts, right? We make the IOTA ledger now programmable, and we extend it with this multi-asset support on the base layer, right? That's very important to understand. So the base layer of IOTA will allow you to tokenize anything, and will also allow you to develop simple programs on the base layer to create certain use cases, right? And that's already super powerful in terms of what will be possible with IOTA. So these unlock conditions are one of the examples. But read the RFC and you will better understand it all. So as I mentioned, tokenization, output types, and the third part of the Chrysalis upgrade is actually smart contracts. And what I mean with smart contracts is actually layer 2 smart contracts. So we have the base layer of IOTA, which is obviously the DAG architecture, and which is now being extended with this programmable multi-asset support. And in order to really unleash the full potential, we obviously need not conditional smart contracts, but we need smart contracts that offer you sort of infinite possibilities. And that is exactly where our layer 2 solution, which is also called IOTA Smart Contracts, comes into play. Because IOTA Smart Contracts is basically smart contract virtual machines that run on top of IOTA. And because of the multi-threaded architecture of IOTA with the Tangle, we are able to run multiple smart contract networks at the same time. And that is really really exciting because that offers us new ways to scale to new levels, right, compared to other networks, because it can actually increase exponentially. Adding a new virtual machine, adding a new smart contract chain will basically offer you the full scalability within that contained network while still being connected to the global network, because IOTA is becoming sort of this routing network through which smart contracts and these smart contract chains are able to communicate and are able to transfer digital assets and are able to transfer data as well. And as part of the Stardust upgrade, smart contracts will also be enabled on the IOTA mainnet. So far, with the beta release that we've had, smart contracts were on the IOTA 2.0 testnet. And the feedback so far was really great. There were some stability issues because obviously it's early beta release. But with this release, with the Stardust release, our objective is to bring this into production so that all of the dApps, all of the applications, all of the use cases will be made possible on top of IOTA. So that should be an idea of what's coming. This is the biggest utility upgrade in our history. And if you think about IOTA being cool or great already right now, this will really up it to the next level. Because with this, we really have fundamental utility on the base layer, which is not seen anywhere else, right? Our tokenization framework is really unique and is incredibly powerful. And at the same time, we have layer 2 smart contracts, which offer you infinite possibilities. And all of this is being combined in this Stardust upgrade. And this is why we are so damn excited. This is also why we are so damn focused right now, because the most important mission of the IOTA Foundation right now is to really make sure that the Stardust release comes out as soon as possible. And so that all of the builders who have applied through Touchpoint, right, which is our builders program for Assembly, are able to launch their dApps, are able to launch their tokens, and are able to build up their communities and ecosystems. So if you think about IOTA, the way that IOTA is evolving into is it's no longer just about the machine economy, right? The machine economy is one of those specific use cases, specific, I wouldn't say industry, but specific ecosystems that we are still focused on, that we're still going to enable. But the vision of IOTA has broadened, right? We are now becoming this highly scalable multi-asset ledger where you can actually program anything on top of it. And so IOTA is actually enabling you to build and to connect decentralized economies. Any kind of decentralized economy, right? Is not just about the machine economy, it's not just about IoT, it's really about Web3 and the future of the internet and about the data economy, about digital identity. All of that is being built and connected through IOTA. And this is also why we are very excited about actually taking this up a layer, because making sure that the base layer is functional and is obviously feeless is going to be adopted, enables us to build new ecosystems on top. And smart contracts as a layer 2 solution makes a ton of sense, so that the base layer itself stays lean, so to say, and is really focused on asset support and how those assets are being secured, right? And the programmability comes in layer 2. So where we stand right now is that the teams are really focused on this release. For one, we obviously have to upgrade the node software. For another, we also have to upgrade all of the tooling, all of the libraries, and most importantly, also the Firefly wallet. So that's a big focus at the moment. And hopefully over the coming weeks, we'll be able to share more with you guys and also invite you in like testnets to start building and to start trying out the network. And where this will end up is that we're going to release sort of I wouldn't say a production ready, but a first sort of staging network, which will be the Shimmer network. So right now, all of you are staking for Shimmer. Once we are happy with where Stardust stands, all of you will also be getting your Shimmer tokens, which will be the first functional network of Stardust. And the vision of Stardust then is that we're going to try it out together with all of you for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, see how it goes. And after that, we are going to fully upgrade the IOTA mainnet as well. And Shimmer will most likely focus on IOTA 2.0. Obviously, no ETAs, but the time to start building is now. So if you're a builder, if you're thinking about the dApp, let's get started. Like we are here to support you. We have a lot of ecosystem funding available. We have an amazing ecosystem team. We have amazing support. So if you're interested in building, please join us now, because we want to launch Shimmer with an active ecosystem, right? And I think this is really where we're getting to. I think there's nearly a dozen dApps already right now that are committed to building on Shimmer. So when the network launches, you guys will be able to experience the future. So that is that about Stardust, right? So Stardust adds utility. In addition to that, we should not forget decentralization, because decentralization is the ultimate objective. Right now, we are prioritizing to some extent the utility of IOTA, because that is also what empowers the ecosystem to grow and for more people to actually participate and benefit from IOTA. But nonetheless, the Go Shimmer on the IOTA 2.0 team is really making tremendous progress. And just a few hours ago, they released a new version of Go Shimmer. Right, Go Shimmer is sort of the research implementation of IOTA 2.0. And with this new release, a lot has been cleaned up in what we call the merge to master, where many functions have been simplified, algorithms have been improved, and where we are really confident in sort of a consensus of this new network. And I think if you really want to experience the future, you should absolutely join the testnet. You can spin up a node, right, and participate and try it out. You can see it live here, which looks absolutely amazing. But decentralization is still the ultimate objective of us, and we should never lose sight of the importance of it. Right? We still run with a coordinator right now, which is sort of this temporary measure. But the goal is to remove it as soon as possible. And obviously, combined with the utility of IOTA and the decentralization of IOTA, we have the perfect package to compete in the crypto market, but also to compete in the real world. And so I'm really damn excited about that. But if you want to join Go Shimmer, spin up a node. There's a new release today. And if you have any questions, just participate in the community. There's a lot of stuff happening there. Cool. Let me look at the AMA. This was actually supposed to be an AMA. Let's not forget about that. Let me reload this. Cool. Let me actually zoom in. Can you guys see it as well? I have to make sure that I don't sort by best, but by top. Cool. So let's get started. What is the current status of Cortisite, and what will an implementation on Shimmer look like? I kind of just gave that, right? The current status is that we are right now basically improving the Go Shimmer implementation of IOTA 2.0, because there has been some great improvements being made throughout the entire code base. I think like 22,000 lines of code were changed, which is absolutely huge. And so the team there has done a tremendous work in really translating these very complex mathematical formulas and very complex algorithms into a node software that can now be run. And we're nearing feature completeness with IOTA 2.0 and to Go Shimmer, obviously. So right now, The focus is obviously on testing and validating the concepts and still making some improvements. And after that, I think we will relaunch a more official sort of network, right? Sort of testnet before moving over to Shimmer, because Shimmer was really launched as a staging network. So we're pretty confident that no matter what, we are going to make really great progress on IOTA 2.0 this year. And I think the next steps will really be clear as we see how the node is behaving, as the network is behaving, in terms of what improvements are needed. I can really recommend all of you to participate in the network and to try it out yourself, because the more usage we get, the more participation we get, the better we can actually progress as well. So yeah, like this is definitely one of the biggest updates to IOTA 2.0, and we're really happy about it, because it really shows you and validates you the consensus of IOTA 2.0. There's more here. I would add to this, if only because Coordicide is such a big deal, if not the only deal. First of all, I would say that Coordicide is not the only deal. I think adoption and utility is the bigger deal even right now. And so that is why we are obviously working on Stardust to resolve that issue. And what are the hurdles, big to small? Coordicide and IOTA 2.0 is obviously a hugely complicated concept, right? Or like a group of concepts that have to be implemented in the right way, where it's obviously difficult to figure out the best way to do it. And it also have to be validated. So things just really take longer than expected with something this complicated. But we, as you can see with this release, Merge to Master, we've made great progress where the hurdles are becoming less and where we're really getting closer and closer to having a sort of feature complete Go Shimmer implementation. Is there anything that has the dev team concerned? Whenever there's a concern, we resolve it. Right? It's not like there's something that is impossible to resolve. We definitely am working on all of these issues. How big a gap exists between DevNet and the full release? Not sure I can really answer that right now. I think this is probably the best to answer by Hans or Andrea, someone from the team. I don't want to put words into their mouth. What is the timeline for completion? Right now, the new release has just been released, right? So I recommend all of you to participate in the network and to try it out. The timeline for completion, again, no ETAs, but I think we're getting very close. And the team is very happy with it. So let's see what the next few weeks will bring in terms of progress and also in terms of testing. And then we can make it more clear where we stand. If you want to follow the updates on IOTA 2.0, I can really recommend everybody to go to our research updates section on GitHub. We moved it away from the IOTA blog because I think the format was a little bit wrong, or we think the format was a little bit wrong. So if you want to really stay up to date with what's happening, all of the meetings that we're having between the protocol group, the networking group, and consensus, all of that is being done, all of that is being published on GitHub. So if you want to get the latest information, please just join there so you can see what's happening in real time. And it's very transparent in that regard. Could we get a more definitive roadmap? Again, let's see what the current release brings, how it's behaving, and then we can work on a more concrete roadmap. Also with Shimmer and with Assembly, what we will work on is we'll give all of you a sort of concrete step-by-step roadmap, so you know at which stage we are at right now and what's going to happen, what's going to be enabled in each stage, right? Because Assembly, for example, will also be released in stages. And so I think that should really help bring clarity to everyone. So we're working on that right now, and we'll share that with all of you. What can we look forward to for the rest of Q1? Can you give us any hints of what's in the pipeline this quarter? I mean, this is a very, very interesting question, because I think it's less about the foundation delivering the news, and it's more about the ecosystem delivering the news. Like, there's so much happening in the community right now where I don't even know what's happening, where even I'm being surprised, and I must say it's pretty nice to be surprised. And so I think what we can expect this year is we'll see a lot of new projects that will firmly commit to be launching on the Shimmer network, and that will firmly commit to be launching on Assembly, and firmly commit to launching on IOTA, right? Our ecosystem is growing, which is really exciting. And that is what should give you, that is what should make you confident in the future of IOTA, that we already have such a vibrant ecosystem without even having launched smart contracts, right? Other projects have to invest hundreds of millions of dollars to get to this level of adoption. And we already did before making those big investments. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, obviously, there's great progress with Stardust and smart contracts happening. And on the other hand, we're still moving forward with adoption, where I'm flying to the US, I think next week, Wednesday, to Denver first, where I'm going to ETH Denver, and afterwards I'm going to New York and most likely Silicon Valley to make some meetings. But yeah, like, what you can expect is a lot of progress from us from a tech standpoint, but also from an ecosystem adoption standpoint. I think that will be very exciting. Does Shimmer launch with anything more than there currently is on mainnet? For instance, tokenized assets, smart contracts, or is it a copy of current mainnet? Shimmer will launch with all of what I mentioned before, right? Tokenization, output types, and probably like a couple of weeks afterwards with full smart contract support. So you will have the full package in Shimmer. Hi Dom, thanks for your time, and AMA. My questions: will there be a new way to stake IOTA, Shimmer, or Assembly tokens immediately following the current staking period? The way that it's going to work is that after the current staking period is over, which will be end of March, you will be able to continue to stake for your Assembly tokens. And when it comes to Shimmer, the sort of genesis of Shimmer will be completed with that staking period. So if you want to get Shimmer tokens, you have to stake IOTA tokens now, because after the staking period is over, we will be working on preparing everything for Shimmer mainnet launch, right? But Assembly, you will still be able to continue staking your IOTA tokens for Assembly tokens as part of this 20% allocation to IOTA stakers. What about those limited NFTs that were announced last year but then canceled? They weren't really canceled. I think they were sort of delayed because of some rightful reactions by the community. We will still be doing them. We're right now just fixing the schedule for this, and once we're ready, we will share them with all of you. What do you think will be the biggest highlights for the IOTA ecosystem this year? I mean, this year it's all about building our own success, right? It's not about being dependent on a centralized exchange, on a big industry partner to push IOTA forward. Like this year, we are pushing IOTA forward. We are pushing for adoption in IOTA. And the way that we're doing that is by really adding utility and functionality to IOTA, where people will be able to stake, to do yield farming, to create NFTs, to create new digital experiences, to launch dApps, right? This year, we are building an ecosystem around IOTA that will be functional. And I'm really, really excited to see what kind of DAOs the community is building already, right? There's so much activity and so much excitement with the Sooniverse dashboard and platform, which is really a great asset for all of you to be managing your DAO. So I think this year it's about building our own success and really empowering the ecosystem to be successful. So I think you can really expect a lot of adoption this year. The main objective for us at the IOTA Foundation is really to get activity on the mainnet. Right? This is also how we are measuring our success this year. And for one that's having billions of dollars in TVL, right, total value locked, where people are really participating in the ecosystem and they're being productive with their assets. And the other thing is really just driving network activity through transactions. And that is really what to look forward to this year. You will have where we're going to have real utility on IOTA. Will assembly be first tested in combination with the Shimmer network, or will there be no decentralized smart contracts on top of Shimmer at all? There will definitely be smart contracts. Assembly will be launching on IOTA. What we're working on, though, is obviously Shimmer is going to have smart contracts initially, like permissioned smart contracts where you define the validators. And afterwards, we are most likely going to actually launch a sort of main chain, a main smart contract chain for Ethereum, for Shimmer, which is sort of the equivalent of having an Ethereum network on top of Shimmer. So while assembly is not going to launch on top of Shimmer, we're actually going to launch something equivalent on top of the Shimmer network, so that all of the dApps and all of the activity can happen in the network. So whenever you think about Shimmer, you can really think about it as being this first iteration of what we're going to do with IOTA and with assembly. So all of the token use cases, all of the dApps, all of the smart contracts will first be battle tested on top of Shimmer. So we already have many projects in the community that are actually committed to launching on top of Shimmer. Like, for example, Tangle will launch their DEX on Shimmer as well. We have Lendex, which is like a lending platform. They will also launch on Shimmer. We also have a couple of NFT marketplaces and other dApps that are committed to launching on there. So it will be a pretty interesting experience for all of us to see what it's like. What is taking Firefly Mobile so long? We've done a lot of hiring. I think we are very close to having a first beta version of Firefly Mobile. So we'll invite some community members there. I'm not sure if it's taking so long. It's simply that there's different priorities. And the main priority was supporting the staking for IOTA, because that is obviously, quite frankly, the main objective, that we actually have staking. And it's been a tremendous success. And yeah, like I think we're pretty close to having Firefly Mobile, so it's coming soon. Hi Dom, at first, please sort by top. Thank you for reminding. I did it. Happy that you're doing an AMA again. A couple of questions from my side. What is IOTA's real long-term vision for the next 5 to 10 years? I think we have to differentiate between IOTA and the IOTA Foundation. If I'm looking at the IOTA Foundation, the objective for us is to really maximize the impact that we can have with the technologies that we're creating. And also the main technology is IOTA and is the Tangle. And what I mean with maximizing the impact is that we really help to, first of all, use our resources, which is primarily money, right? The tokens that we have, and to invest them into the right causes. Right now, we are obviously building the core protocol, but there's also so many more activities that we can do around social impact, around climate change, around great initiatives to really help people all around the world and help them with technologies that we create, right? So that's sort of the big vision of IOTA, of the IOTA Foundation, to maximize the impact. And obviously we are a non-profit foundation, so this social impact cause is deep in our hearts, and I think is also deep within the community, because I think if there's one thing that really builds a great community, is having shared values. And the shared values of all of us is really, we want to have a positive impact on the world. We don't want to extract value. We want to regenerate. And that's really what we are doing with IOTA. Now, when it comes to the IOTA network or protocol, we are here to build a digital infrastructure that is really the basis for the future of our digital economy. There's a clear need to transition away from those centralized systems like the internet towards decentralized networks where there's nobody in control, right? There's nobody that can decide who to exclude and who to ban from participating. So we really see IOTA as one of those foundational technologies that will help to build a new digital age and to be this trust protocol for these digital economies to actually flourish. And so yeah, I think over the next 5 to 10 years we will really establish IOTA as a digital infrastructure piece, as a sort of utility that anybody can depend on, and that really helps our economy and helps our society to cooperate and to actually move forward in new ways, right? And that's why smart contracts are key to that. That's why DAOs are key to that. That's why decentralized finance is key to that, because all these different concepts actually enable these economies to flourish. And so if I were to define IOTA, IOTA is really there to build and to connect our decentralized economies. And that includes Web3, and that also includes the machine economy, that includes identity, digital identity, that includes the data economy. Everything is being connected through IOTA, and these economies are being secured by IOTA as well. So I think that's sort of the vision of IOTA. And everything is about impact, right? We're here to accelerate our impact. We're not here to extract value. What is to be achieved, and how does the company want to position itself for the future? That's a good question. Right now, the focus of the IOTA Foundation is obviously to achieve, to build an ecosystem, to empower the ecosystem, to build the technology that is being adopted very broadly, and to also sort of build the technology that solves real world problems, and to make sure that the IOTA protocol matches the criteria that we wanted to have, right? And obviously decentralization is one of the most important criteria that we are focused on right now. And the way that we're positioning ourselves is really as a trusted party in the digital world, in the decentralized world. And we are chartered nonprofit foundation, and I think we can really become one of the main technology companies for this new digital age. And we don't really have any hidden agenda, right, so to say, and we are really here to build tech to solve problems. And I don't think anything will change there. It will only accelerate. How do you as a company and you as a CEO manage to maintain the startup spirit in the IF, even though you're no longer a startup in this sense, but rather a grown up? That's actually a very interesting question. And it's actually something that I joke about sometimes, because the way that we are actually winning against our competition is that they lose their drive to succeed. They lose their drive to really compete because they're already too rich to care, right? So many of our competitors from 2018, and also new competitors from the last year, they will simply be too rich to actually move forward with achieving their vision, because why should they care, right? I think with IOTA, because we've had failure, we've had real hardship, and we've had real struggle to win, because we were an underdog, right? We only started with nothing, basically, and we built up such an amazing community with all of you, and such an amazing foundation with the team that deeply cares about IOTA. I think having this hunger or this drive to succeed is really important. And even though we're like 180 people right now in the foundation, I personally don't feel successful. Like, I don't think that IOTA is successful yet. And there's still so much more to achieve. And so we're really looking at this as sort of a life mission. And this is really our duty to build these technologies and to really have an impact through them. And I envision myself being at the IOTA Foundation for decades to come, because I really see it as a vehicle and as a very, like, obviously a tremendous team and a tremendous vision of the future that I really want to be a part of for decades to come, because this is really also sort of like a life goal and life purpose for myself. And so yeah, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of interesting, right? Because obviously we have invested so much time and effort into IOTA and into the IOTA Foundation. And it really just feels like we're just getting started. Everything is like around the corner. All the most exciting things are around the corner. And every year is getting better and better and better. And I think these challenges of improving, of really changing something is what drives us in the foundation, also within the community. So I think even if IOTA is going to have $1 trillion market cap one day, I hope that we still realize that we're not yet there, right? There's always more to do. There's always more to achieve, and there's always better things to work on. And I think that is what it's all about, right? Accelerating the impact that we can have together. And what additional opportunities does the founding of smart contracts open up for IOTA, and what exactly do you have in mind? First of all, what we have now is we have a for-profit subsidiary. That means that we can also make certain investments and certain expenditures that we were not able to do with the IOTA Foundation. And what we are really focused on at the moment is to keep the foundation, like we're setting up a more broadened structure with different entities so that the IOTA Foundation can focus on what it's best at, and really help to, like, obviously maintain the nonprofit status and work with governments and get IOTA adopted as a standard, so to say. And these other entities will actually help to support that mission. And smart contracts technologies AG is one of those entities that we've set up that is actually helping with that. So it just gives us a more broadened mandate and what we can do. How do you as a company manage to get your employees to identify with IOTA, even though most of them probably work from home like everywhere else? That's a good question. I think many people come from the community already, so they really identify with it. And I think if you're applying to IOTA or to a crypto project, you really need to believe in it, because it's not about the money, right? It's about the cause and it's about the purpose. And especially in 2022, more people realize that working for Silicon Valley companies is probably contributing to a lot of the evil and a lot of the bad things that are happening around the world. And so it's about actually working on something purposeful and where you can see the impact, right? If you work on IOTA, you can really see the impact that you're having in real time, right? So many active community members are participating in building this together with us. And so I think it's really about having this shared purpose and these shared values, which all of the people within the foundation have. And also we even though we are fully remote, we also do training, we also do educational sessions. We all get together on a monthly basis or on a regular basis and talk about what's happening. So I think if you're working at the IOTA Foundation, you're already getting into it with a certain mindset, right? And with a certain vision of the future. And the IOTA Foundation is really there to help people realize that vision of themselves and of the future. And that's also where I see my purpose is to really just empower these people, because I don't know how to do IOTA 2.0. I don't know how to code or build these amazing technologies that we're creating. I'm simply here to figure out the sort of framework together with our team so that everybody's empowered to work on that vision of the future and work on that vision for themselves and for IOTA. So it's a very empowering workplace, I would say. Are there plans for a stablecoin on top of IOTA? Yes, it's something that we're actively exploring. For one, algorithmic stablecoins. For another, not CBDC, but more like asset-backed stablecoins. Stablecoins are the bloodline of DeFi, and we really need to enable that. So it's definitely on our minds, and we're working on it. All right, let's do like 2 or 3 more questions. All right. Good evening, Dom. In Q1, Q2 2021, we were eagerly awaiting more information about Curve, which was expected to be the first custody solution for IOTA. Unfortunately, soon after the initial announcement, we learned that PayPal would be acquiring them, and it was doubtful that they will resume any meaningful partnership with IOTA. I've heard rumors that a partnership with another custody solution is in progress. Are there any updates you can share? Based on your experience and interaction with exchanges, do you think a custody solution is the biggest requirement currently missing for a large exchange to consider listing IOTA? I mean, the curve situation has been discussed a few times. I think it was very unfortunate for IOTA, and it was very unfortunate for the entire crypto space. But money is money, right? And some people needed an exit, I guess. It's totally fair and totally up to them. We've been in talks with multiple custody providers. That's actually one of the reasons why I'm also flying to the US to meet up with them. Obviously, Chrysalis helped tremendously in like integrating IOTA for exchanges and for custody providers. So hopefully we will be able to make some good progress on that. And also, obviously, Assembly is helping because those exchanges, those custody providers realize that they're not just integrating IOTA, they're integrating an ecosystem. And it's very important for them so that they understand the potential that is coming here. And I think exchanges, all of them use custody providers as well. So yes, it's definitely something that is holding us back in that regard. Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to actually buy IOTA in the US. Hopefully we will be able to resolve that very soon. Hi Dom, can you give us more information about IOTA and EPSI? What needs to be done to become the European blockchain and how will it be used? So EPSI right now is a pre-procurement process. And so we're one of the finalists of EPSI, which is a huge achievement if you think about it, because the European Commission is very strict about who can actually apply and who will actually be selected. And we are ranked as the top project right now. And we really see EPSI as a sort of alignment of vision and alignment of technologies, because EPSI wants to have a sort of base layer, an infrastructure, digital infrastructure for them to order new services for their citizens. Let me actually just new services for the citizens, like digital identity, digital wallets, right, and stuff like that. And we really see that IOTA can be that foundational base layer to realize this vision of the European Union. And that's why we really see it as an exciting. I actually had to ban that user in real time, by the way. He was kind of getting annoying. And that's why we were very excited about EPSI, because it's an alignment, right? It's not just us being a service provider and say, hey, we're building this for you, please adopt it. It's really us coming to them and say like, hey, we're already building all of this and it can be perfectly applied to the European Union and to be more broadly adopted by, I don't know, 400 million people. So it's really great in that regard. What needs to be done is we are right now in the second phase of EPSI, where we're actually building out sort of networks, building out some of the infrastructure for them to do their tests. And once we are successfully completing that, we'll make it to the next round. And then EPSI will actually select the finalists for this procurement process. And that's really where we're going for. And we are very hopeful that we can like solve the problems that EPSI has identified with other distributed ledger technologies, and that we can really solve or like introduce very exciting architecture for the European Union and for all of the citizens in Europe, right? Our vision is that IOTA is being adopted in the real world, and with digital identity, obviously with smart contracts, and with IOTA itself, we can really enable that. And that's also why we're right now looking into stablecoins, why we're looking into how the IOTA token will really be the main functional backbone or token backbone for this entire infrastructure. If you have any questions about EPSI, please just read up on the announcement blog post, because I think that kind of clarifies what they're looking for. It's a long process. It takes 2 to 3 years. So this is a long-term commitment for us as well. And you're not going to expect any news or announcements over the next few weeks. Just be patiently waiting, and just know that we are really focused on this. If there's one adoption use case that we're really focused on from the industry verticals, EPSI is the main one we're focused on. But other than that, obviously crypto and token adoption, token utilities is what we're really working on right now. All right, let's do one more question. How long after Shimmer launches will the IF initiate its courtside? That really depends on IOTA 2.0. It also depends on answering some questions around which node version are we going to run in there? Like, are we going to integrate the modules into Hornet and into B? Or are we going to launch it with Go Shimmer? Most likely it will be the former, because obviously that adds more stability. But that's something that we are looking at right now. And I think the tests over the next few weeks will add a lot of clarity to that sort of roadmap. When it will launch, we don't know yet. We can't share that yet. Let's focus on the next milestone, and the next milestone is Stardust and the tokenization framework and obviously smart contracts, because that is really what's going to unlock the potential of IOTA. And as sad as it is for me to say that, in 2017, we got so much shit for having the coordinator. In 2022, with seeing what's happened with Solana, what's happened with other networks, people don't really care about decentralization as much anymore. They really care about utility. And we're committed to both, right? Short-term goals, the short-term objectives for us right now, which with short-term, I mean the next couple of months, is really utility on the IOTA mainnet. And that's where we have a really tremendous roadmap with the tokenization framework and with smart contracts. And then later on with assembly. And the mid to long-term vision is really courtside, where hopefully with this new release that just happened today, we will have a very clear timeline and roadmap on when it will happen, first on Shimmer and later on IOTA. But right now, I think all of us have something very exciting to work on. And if you want to learn more about the tokenization framework, please read up on the specifications. They have been wonderfully crafted by Levente and by the team. This way you will understand what's going to be possible on layer one. If you want to look at smart contracts, read the release post. You can already spin up smart contracts right now. You can test it out in real time. And if you want to get any support, if you're really curious about building your own dApp and want to get started, reach out to us. Reach out to us on Discord, on Twitter, wherever. We have close to $100 million in ecosystem funding support. The first projects are already being funded, and we are here to support you with legal help. We're here to support you with development help, with code audits, and obviously also helping with bringing your ideas to life. And if there's anything that really defines success for IOTA, it's the ecosystem. IOTA is only successful if we have a successful ecosystem. And this year, we want to have many success stories in the community where teams of young entrepreneurs, of builders, are launching their applications and are really becoming successful with them. And I myself, in my role, and the people at the IOTA Foundation and people within the community are here to support all of you. So if you want to get started, the best time to start building is now. And as I said, we are here to support all of you. And if you need any help, feel free to reach out. Without further ado, I'm going to be traveling for the next 3 weeks. I'll keep you guys posted on some fun stuff and what's happening. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. We're here for all of you, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.